So in this video, Dinesh is going to get confronted, right, by a guy. I don't know his political affiliation. I'm assuming he's a liberal. And he's going to call Dinesh, saying that he's propagating fake history. And I wish if teaching was more based on, hey, here's demonstrable proof. Because as a teacher, you're not the authority on what's true or not. I never see teachers as an authority. I don't even see journalists as an authority like that. Even people in authority, I don't see them as an authority. The only authority you have is, hey, I pointed to information, and based on this information, this is how I arrived to this conclusion. Show your work. This is something you learn in math. Show your work. And I like the ability, I have a bias, I have a preference for people who can show their work. If you saying someone's a liar, but you can't tell me how they're a liar, I'm less inclined to believe you. But hey, I digress. You guys need a break from my voice. So let's hear the dialogue between them, and then I'll give my breakdown after this little clip I'm gonna show. Let's take a look.
Nothing. What threat do I pose to you?
You've kind of thrown out some fairly incendiary facts or claims. The year before the Civil War, not a single Republican owned a slave. The big switch is a lie. Nixon's strategy is a hoax. We hear a lot about fake news, and you're talking about fake history. But I only hear you talking about it. Why don't I hear others? I don't see conservatives out in the street with their children's history books, burning them in a pile. I don't see students here at this university taking their history books and complaining about the falsehoods in it. So,
yeah, but this is the problem with the education system. If you don't know the information you're being fed is false, how would you have the means to call it out? And this is the problem I have with the education system. This guy says, hey, you're bringing out false history because I don't hear other historians talk about it. That's not a credible argument in my view. Just because other people don't talk about something that one person bring up doesn't mean that person is wrong. It just means those people are not educated or not aware of the fallacy or the flaw. Right? And just because only one person, oh, Dinesh, you're the only one that speaks about this history. I don't see anyone else mentioning this, therefore you're not credible. I'm like, no, like it only took one man to believe that man can fly in the sky, the Wayne brothers, and they went out and did it. They had to show people it was possible, right? And this is the fallacy that I'm seeing in the education system, is that this is the indoctrination. The indoctrination requires, oh, if the people in authority are not bringing this topic up, therefore it must not be true. Therefore, it's not unquestionable. This is how you get dogmatic education. This is how wokeness is infecting debate about education, about any topic, right? This is why our kids are coming out dumber and dumber and dumber, because they're being brought up in a institution, an education system that, in my view, values people viewing the world a specific way, regardless of what the evidence or proof that the alternative view has. But I digress. Let's continue with the video.
why is that? And would you be willing to come to this university and debate our top scholars on these topics?
The answer is absolutely yes. Not only do I welcome that opportunity, but I will debate up to 6 opponents at the same time. My leading public critic on this, the Princeton historian Kevin Cruz, who says things like there was a big switch, and then when I point out to him that there wasn't, he says, what about Jesse Helms? What about Trent Lott? What about John Tower? And I say, well, let's not debate apples and oranges. Those men are not Dixiecrats. Just to find a Southern Democrat who became a Republican isn't going to make your case. You have to find racist Dixiecrats and show me that those guys, who are countable. If you Google racist Dixiecrats, a whole number of names will come up on your phone. We're talking about those guys. And so I told Kevin Cruz, why don't I come to your home campus, Princeton University? Let's have a debate in front of your own students. You have all the advantages of being on your home ground. You're going to have the home team advantage. His response, I won't do it.
And why you guys think that is, right? Remember, this is the debate about the U.S. educational system. If the U.S. educational system is supposedly about, hey, we want to inform our citizens, the future of our country, because that's what education is. He who controls the youth controls the future. A famous socialist has said that. So what is explaining it to me is the fact that they don't want to expose the kids to alternative viewpoints. And I think this is one of the biggest problems with the educational system in the U.S. today is that it's too ideologically driven. And now I don't have a problem with that ideological driven education system if the alternative or the contrarian view is allowed to express itself, right? This is why I like the idea that there should be in textbooks, right? Let's say there's a view in history and the history say, hey, this is how the liberals see history on this event. Here's how the conservatives see history at this event. Now, class, we're going to do a paper. You guys are going to do an essay and line out why you believe this side over this side, whoever you prefer. Tell me the holes in the other person's argument. Tell me the pros of the other person's argument. And we can have a debate right here amongst ourselves. Wouldn't that mean, wouldn't my example, wouldn't my case study prove that, hey, Kenny wants education to be the core of what is the prioritization of the educational system? But if I wanted to indoctrinate people, I only listen to one view. Teachers unions, I always make this point. Teacher unions are overwhelmingly Democratic. They vote for the Democratic Party. They fundraise for the Democratic Party. They support the Democratic Party. They send money to the Democratic Party. To me, that's a bias. So if they're filtering information, you don't think they'll filter information through their bias? The answer is yes. Because if I reverse it, if I say, hey, most teacher unions were conservative, people will make the argument, oh, look at all the PAC money. They do the same they launch the same argument against PragerU. Oh, PragerU, we shouldn't be allowing political information into public schools because now PragerU has been considered as allowed to be taught in schools now. And the left is mad. The progressives are mad. They're like, oh my God, this is politically driven material. But they've been doing it the whole time. They've been giving our kids politically driven material for 50 plus years now. This is why most people are passively lean towards the Democratic Party. Hollywood, the teachers unions, who's overwhelmingly Democrat, right? The Department of Education, who funds it a lot, who supports it a lot. The Democratic Party does, because it serves their ends. And when I pointed out to black people, hey, you voted for the Democratic Party most likely out of ignorance. And they go, oh no, black people don't support Democrats just because we're ignorant. It's because we know we hip to the real game. I said, okay, most of y'all are educated by the public school system that is primarily run by liberals, right? Teachers are overwhelmingly liberal. Teacher unions are overwhelmingly liberal, right? The social behavior learning stuff, all these people, bro, I'm telling you, education, the public school, the reality is it transmits values either passively or actively. And this is the kind of indoctrination that a lot of people are concerned about, that you're not feeding our kids accurate and good information. This is why a lot of parents are nervous about the whole transgender stuff that y'all pushing, because because we know you're trying to influence our kids. There's a study out there that says like under the age of 7, your kid process things subconsciously. That means they're not fully aware of their surroundings until after they turn 7 years old. So kids that are very impressionable, you want to put this in material out there, this suggestive material in front of them. For what ends? To convert people or to transmit your values to the next generation. And that is in my view, that is the real goal of education. This is the real priority of these educational system in the US. It's not to actually educate our kids. It's not actually make our kids smarter, because a smart people, an educated and knowledgeable people, will be able to be vigilant and maintain the republic. But you can't control people like that. That's why they want you dumb and ignorant. Not dumb and ignorant. They want you ignorant and in their ideological wheelhouse, because then it's easier for you to control you. It's easier for you to be like, hey, vote for Democrat. Vote blue no matter who. That's the kind of population that they want. And there's too many like signs that I see that this is the case. This is why personally I'm boycotting it. And if I do put my kids in school, it's most likely going to be a private school, because I believe, there's no one size fit all solution is what got us here in the first place. Now we got internet personalities fighting back against this, and I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to see it. But I think we need to have a concerted effort because end of the day, this is the future. Education determines the future of a country. And you see how Gen Z is. Can't answer basic questions. Don't even know when their country was founded on. Can't answer basic questions because of the way the educational system has brought them up. But they're passing. They're graduating high school at a higher rate. But they can't read, write, or do arithmetic. How's that a success? But if you ask them anything about politics, oh, socialism is good. Nationalized healthcare. I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to that. Where they get these ideas from? From public school. They're transmitting these ideas. Here you go. 1619 Project. That's a political concept. No, they're quiet about it. But God forbid, PragerU gets approved to be taught in public schools. They throwing a whole hissy fit over it. But when 1619 was going on here, giving revisionist history to our youth, not a peep out of the left. And this is the problem I have with the left. Everyone deserves to be a liberal and nothing else. That is the purpose of the education system in the United States right now, because it's controlled by these liberal ideologues. Academic college is overwhelmingly left. Look up the research, right? No one wants to hint out the college bias in that. When you get taught any information, you're getting a liberal bias no matter where you're going. And when you get conservatives speaking out against it, you want to try to paint them as revisionist, false history, fake history, because they don't have the authority in your eyes. Because this institution is run by us, therefore it has authority, it has credibility. No, what has credibility is the facts and evidence that you can prove and showcase to us. That's what has credibility. But I digress. Let's get back into the video.
He refuses. He says it's not the proper format to resolve these issues. Think of it. Debate is not a proper format to resolve an important difference of agreement. And I take that to really mean that what he's saying is, look, here at Princeton, we have enough leftists in the history department that we've got our students completely brainwashed. Your type is not.
See, that's the problem. Because when we go into the vice debate, they're gonna ask questions about what is the purpose of education, and it sounds like to me like these teachers who's likely to be liberal, they like to frame it in a very colorful way, but the reality is that's what they're doing. They're brainwashing you, aka, hey, only allowing you to be exposed to one specific view to the point where you think that these things are self-evident, that there's no alternative paradigm, right? And then when someone come out and questions the paradigm, you see it as, oh my God, you must be evil, because how can you possibly disagree with this? And this is how we get the left that we have today. This is how you get the calling that we have today, the entitlement. Because these people have never been challenged in a day in their life. College used to be the place where you have your ideas challenged and where you had a great opportunity to self-reflect. Not if you're a lefty, not if you're a liberal, because these institutions have been captured by people who share your worldview. So if an institution is majority your worldview, that's an echo chamber. College is an echo chamber. High school, middle school, if you go to a public school anyway, echo chamber. Because liberals, Democrats, they have a lot of influence in that department because they invest heavily in these government programs, aka Department of Education. This is why I want Department of Education abolished, defunded, removed, because I don't think some arbitrary person, some arbitrary bureaucrat can make decisions on the behalf of individual people, individual families, and know what's best for them in general. I think those people in those specific situations have a better understanding of their circumstances, their weaknesses, their strengths, and they'll be able to make a better judgment call with the funds. This is why I'm a big proponent of school choice. That's why, because it puts the choice in the hands of the parents, and because they're responsible, they know their kids best. Not some bureaucrat all the way in Washington that has no idea why these Baltimore kids are failing. They think, money's the problem. Let's just throw money at Baltimore. Test score still going down. They still failing at math. They're like, what's going on? I guess we got to throw more money at it. Like, eventually you got to be like, money's not the problem. Let's zoom in and look at it from a process perspective. What is going on in Baltimore? They won't do that. They don't have the time to do that. They're worried about fundraising, keeping their power, keeping their position in government. And they throw you scraps and it's like, hey, look what we did. We invested so much money in education. Vote for me. Look what we done for education. But there's proof, there's studies that show there's no causation with funding and the educational outcome. But you know, I've been rambling. I need to get through the video. So let's continue. It's almost about to wrap up.
Not going to be welcome here because the only thing you can do is make converts, and that's going to be incendiary for us. So we're not going to let that happen.